Christie is now facing a coordinated attack from multiple newspapers in New Jersey who feel like his obvious decision, even once he suspended his presidential campaign, to continue campaigning with Donald Trump, giving up even the pretense of continuing to actually be the governor of New Jersey, that it is time for him to resign. And their terminology, their language is somewhat abrasive. You could almost say that it is Christie-esque. And let's just give you a brief preview of the different newspapers that put out this combined editorial throughout New Jersey. You're seeing the Asbury Park Press, Home News Tribune, Courier News, a number of different outfits. And the statement's actually not very long, and so I want to read the majority of it here because it's just amazing. They start, "What an embarrassment, what an utter disgrace. We're fed up with Governor Christie's arrogance. We're fed up with his opportunism. We're fed up with his hypocrisy. We're fed up with his sarcasm. We're fed up with his long neglect of the state to pursue his own selfish agenda." They chose the word "fed" totally randomly. "We're disgusted with his endorsement of Donald Trump after he spent months on the campaign trail trashing him, calling him unqualified by temperament and experience to be president." On Friday, when we did the video announcing the endorsement of Donald Trump by Chris Christie, I read you some of the choice quotes where he made clear this is not a man anyone should trust to be president, but now he's standing behind him, looking on longingly. They go on to say, "We're fed up with his continuing travel out of state on New Jersey's dime, stumping for Trump after finally abandoning his own presidential campaign. For the good of the state, it's time for Christie to do his long-neglected constituents a favor and resign as governor. If he refuses, citizens should initiate a recall effort." Now, is he going to resign? No, he's probably not going to resign. He doesn't strike me as a Sarah Palin. But bear in mind that the endorsement of Trump has had an effect, at least a short-term effect on his favorability. There was a poll put out by Fairleigh University. His approval rating fell from 33% before he announced his support for Trump to 27% after. It would fall more, but there's not much more room to fall. Disapproval increased from 59% to 64%, in line with his BMI. Anyway, that's terrible. I denounced myself, but those are bad numbers.
I grew up in New Jersey. Some of those are my hometown papers. Those are, at least a couple of them are major papers. It's actually unprecedented for the 6 of them to get together and say, we're going to do a joint editorial. I've literally never seen that in my life.
Yeah.
And the part that's great, obviously, is them calling it out what it is. Finally, it's gotten to a point where the media drop the neutrality and go, okay, we have to call it as it actually is.
Yeah.
Not 50-50, not he says, she says, Democrats say this, Republicans say this. No, this guy is out of the state, doesn't care about the state, never, and is a disgrace because of how obvious he is, that he doesn't want to do the job of governor, that he's in it for his own political career and what's coming up next. It was one thing, sometimes governors run for president, I got it. But once you lose, and you're not even picked as VP, but you're just going across the country on New Jersey taxpayers' dime, campaigning for a guy that they can't stand, you've crossed every line there is. So that's why they do this unprecedented move. The only thing that frustrates me about it is that it takes this for them to stop calling it 50-50.
That's true.
I mean, you didn't know that Chris Christie only cared about his own political career as he shut down bridges and tunnels, etc., for political retribution. But even way before that, when there was the money to make another entrance into New York from New Jersey, that would have helped New Jersey immensely.
I don't know about this.
And they could have gotten it from the federal government. But Chris Christie, in order to seem like a tough guy and against federal government and against taking money, etc., wind up killing it, which hurt New Jersey so much. And then there's case after case where he doles out public pensions to his donors, etc.
Bits of 9/11 memorial.
Now, all of that was plenty enough to know that he never cared about being the governor of New Jersey. This was a stepping stone for him. Every move was political. But even it goes beyond the loathsome Chris Christie. It goes to, come on, papers, you're still covering all these politicians as if they're well-intentioned people who are working on principles. No, be honest with the American people. Now, there's a lot of reasons why newspapers are losing their audience and readership that have nothing to do with how they're doing their content. but some of it has to do with the content.
Yeah.
And if the content continues to be disingenuous, oh, well, the politicians are honorable gentlemen arguing about principles, well, then you're not giving the truth to your readers. That's part of the reason why they're not reading you anymore.
Yeah.
These are not, just call it like it is. Of course, if he's taking the pensions and giving it to his donors to handle, from which they make tremendous amount of money, you should be all over that.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be like, oh, look at that. David Sirota, living in Colorado, made that case. Perhaps we'll report on it once or twice, right? You should be asking him every day, how many more favors are you going to do for your donors? Does Chris Christie and almost all other politicians actually care about their own career and their donors more than they care about the citizens of that state? Of course he does. Of course they do. And finally, after all this, the papers in New Jersey are like, oh my God, I don't think he cares about the citizens. He might be in it for himself. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
As I think about it, there's some chance maybe he would resign. I mean, look, if he's gonna try to be vice president, he kind of has to, doesn't he?
No. Resigning under these circumstances without having your backup plan. Like if he gets picked as VP, I think he still stays as governor,
Really?
but I'm not positive, right? But right now he's not VP. Trump didn't name him.
Yeah,
Trump
yeah. I
hasn't
don't mean
won.
now. I mean if he gets chosen. He so desperately wants out of New Jersey. It's like Sarah Palin in Alaska. She didn't never want to go back to Alaska after she got out.
So, no, for him to resign would require a certain amount of shame. Shame that does not exist in Chris Christie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What unites Donald Trump and Chris Christie is their shamelessness. Yeah. That is their defining characteristic.
That's true.